Bruce Feldman over at The Athletic put out a really good piece today. It's probably still on the front page of their college football section. But what he did is he went and talked to a bunch of folks in the industry. A few people are more connected than Bruce. And he assembled a list of like the 30 hottest coordinator and assistant coach names. So forget the head coaches. Look beneath the surface. This is such a key. Like I was talking to someone in the industry today, and they were talking about relative strength of coaching staffs. Everybody knows the head coaches, or at least we do. We're diehard fans. But do you just know Wisconsin's running back coach off the top of your head? Probably not. But what if he's really good? And so Bruce Feldman at least went 30 deep on highlighting some of these guys. Garrett Riley's right at the top of his list. I cannot disagree. Garrett Riley got hired at Clemson as the offensive coordinator. This is an impact name. In the ACC race, in the playoff race, this is an impact name this year. I think it's probably the most high-profile assistant coaching move. You could argue Tommy Rees because of where he went. He went to Alabama, but Garrett Riley is a proven commodity. Garrett Riley's had top 15 points per game offenses the last 3 years. So that guy got it done at TCU. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing to watch, because a lot of folks think he'll be a head coach soon. I do too. Clemson was 30th last year in that stat category, and they were woeful the year before. So if he puts them in the top 15, or especially if he puts them top 10 this year, with folks thinking that they're not overly dynamic at wide receiver, I'm not saying it is going to be one and done. I'm saying he'll have head coaching offers immediately, and that wouldn't be a surprise to anyone. So keep an eye on Garrett Riley. Phil Longo goes from North Carolina as the OC up to Wisconsin as the OC. And if you didn't know they had hired Luke Fickell as their head coach, you would say, ugh, what a gross fit. Why would Phil Longo go to Wisconsin? They don't throw the ball. They're going to now. We had Luke Fickell at Big Ten Media Days. I said, how different is this offense going to be? He said, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. Now, I don't think you'll get the full Phil Longo experience in year one, only because they got guys like Braylon Allen on the team. It's still, as much as they portaled a quarterback and multiple receivers in, they've got to acknowledge we're really good at running back. We're really good on the offensive line and run blocking. We're still going to run the ball. But in 2019 through 2022, Longo had top 15 points per game and pass yards per game offenses each year down at North Carolina. It's pretty much all they had at North Carolina. What is he going to do with Wisconsin? Because, again, if they have a pretty radical and just boom, immediate transformation offensively, number one, it'll catch everyone's attention. Number two, Wisconsin will be doing things you didn't think Wisconsin could ever do. And all of a sudden, Phil Longo's a household name. And I mean by casual fans. We already mostly know who he is. But when you get the casuals parroting your name, it's not too much further down the road that you get to pick wherever you go work. What about Matt House down at LSU? Matt House is the defensive coordinator there. 7 new starters last year, and they lost Mason Smith in game 1, which a lot of people thought was just going to gut their defense, and he still found a way to improve them from 10th to 5th in the SEC in scoring defense last year. That's not easy. That's not easy. That is coaching. And that's players executing, and that's portaling in good talent immediately, and that's having some good talent left to work with. But, man, that's coaching. And so Matt House, in his mid-40s, could be a Broyles Award guy this year because he's got a bunch of really talented guys to work with, especially in that front. You watch them in their secondary. They play Florida State Sunday night. I'm going to break the game down in a few minutes. They play FSU Sunday night. Really good group of pass catchers, including at tight end. If they look above average with sort of a portaled together secondary, they figure to improve throughout the year if they remain healthy. It'll only continue to increase his stock. I know a lot of people are watching that. They want to know, what can that guy do with that secondary? A lot of people are talking about that behind the scenes. I want to go to the position group ranks for just a second. Ja'Juan Seider up at Penn State. Ja'Juan Seider's a really interesting story because he's an extremely good coach. He's been in that running backs room forever. And so he's got coordinator next to his name. I associate him with running backs because that's how I've known him for a long time. But it's an interesting, or what am I sitting there thinking about? Yours is just the OC. So Ja'Juan Seider at running backs coach for Penn State is in a position that few people find themselves in. He's paid handsomely, as he should be, as a position coach. Yet, when you talk to him, I spent like an hour talking to him when we were up there this spring. You think you're talking to a head coach. You're talking to a guy who's got a lot of years of experience under his belt. He's coached a lot of really good players, and a lot of them are doing big things in the NFL now. But the thing about it is, most of the time, when guys get hired away to be a head coach, they get hired away from the coordinator positions to go work in the G5 ranks maybe, and then work their way up. Not all the time, but a lot of time that's how it works. So with Ja'Juan Seider, and he didn't tell me this is my opinion, it's my observation, he doesn't really need to do that. He's got an excellent spot right now at Penn State. He's on a really good staff. They got a really good vibe, really good energy up there. He recruits very well. Guys know if I want to be developed at the running back position, I'm going to go play for that guy. It's going to happen. As long as I put in the work, it's going to happen. And so I look at him and I think, if I had a spot open at Pate State, I'd offer it. But if he doesn't get an offer, if he doesn't get the perfect offer any given offseason, I think he's just content to stay there. I would be too. But I'll tell you this now, and I don't run a consulting service, but maybe I should. I'd give him a look. I'd give him much more than a passing glance. Talk to him. Listen to him. Ask him his opinion on matters that extend beyond a running back's room. I think you'd be kind of surprised. They're going to have another good year this year, by the way. Got one of the best running back rooms in the country. Also, up at Kansas State, I want you guys to keep a close eye on Colin Klein. Played quarterback for them like 5 minutes ago, it seems like, and he's the offensive coordinator there now. They had 422 yards per game last year, and they juggled quarterbacks. And Will Howard's back this year, and now it shifts to, well, can they replace Deuce Vaughn? Well, they think they got a really, really good substitute out of the transfer portal, but the point is that team will be anonymous until this year. Fill in the blank. Until fill in the blank. They play, I think, Missouri in week 3. Could be an interesting game. It's on the Once Upon a Saturday Tour radar. I'll just leave that there for now. But they're replacing a lot of skill this year. So what people are talking about with him is if they can duplicate that success and they replace those guys, it's not Georgia, it's not Alabama, it's not Ohio State. You don't just reload typically at Kansas State. If they take new names and they put up that same kind of production, you're going to see his name involved a lot more in searches, and it would not surprise me if his name was involved in searches this last go-around. He's just still in Manhattan. So those are some names to keep an eye on. That entire article by Bruce Feldman is still available on The Athletic. Really good stuff.